Welcome back. It's another beautiful day here, Darling Downs. Very bright and sunny this way towards the east, but to the west I can see some dark clouds. It looks like they might be getting some rain. If so, I'm very happy for them because over this last week they unfortunately missed out on most of the rain that we got up here. So yeah, hopefully they're getting a good drenching, at least something to put some moisture in the ground. But yeah, this week the weather's really meant to turn. Later on in the week, temps are really meant to drop overnight. I think one of the Thursday or Friday, one of the mornings is meant to drop down to 0. So that will probably be our first frost of the year. Very much looking forward to that. I really love winter. It's my favorite season. So yeah, we'll have to then start up the frosty morning creek plunges. I've still been going every day as usual. This was going to be it's the third year. Wow, third year that I am doing daily creek plunges. This will be my third winter. Wow, incredible. It's just become a part of daily life for me. I'll have to do a video when I do a creek plunge. Although I film all these videos on my phone. I don't want to drop my phone in the creek. Exactly. Especially when it's that cold, I'll be shivering and shaking. So I'll have to find a way to do it on the phone. Otherwise, I might just use my new camera for that one. Yeah, I'll use my new camera. Or no, I used to film everything on a GoPro, especially for the vlogs on my main channel. But yeah, now I don't have a GoPro anymore. It broke in Sri Lanka. Long story short. But I got a much better camera now. I haven't even been using it much because I just have not been making any videos for the main channel. That's something that it's going to be interesting. I still have quite a few Sri Lanka videos to make. To put together. I filmed everything, of course, while I was there, but I still got quite a few videos to put together. I thought I'd be having them all posted by now, but it's just been so busy. I have had to put YouTube on the back burner. So yeah, once I'm done with these remaining assignments, believe me, I'm going to be finishing off the rest of the Sri Lanka series. And I've got one video from traveling back. I think 1 or 2 videos from Singapore I'll have, and which is where I stayed on the way back. And yeah, I did film one video since returning back here. But apart from that, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to go from here with my main channel. I'm definitely going to change some things up, the way things have been going. But I'll get to that in another video. I've got more time to think on that. In the meantime, my university coursework going very well. As I've been mentioning quite a bit over the last few weeks, I had these 2 big reports that are due on the same day. Well, they are due on the 4th of May, which is today. Yeah, that's today. And the last one that I was working on, I finished last weekend already and submitted it. So I already got one report done. And the last few days I've just been cracking on with the other report. Both of them are 3,500 word long reports. So just been working at them slowly over the last few weeks. I'm very proud of myself for that, actually, because in the past I've tended to always procrastinate, especially on writing reports and essays and all this stuff. Like, I've always been diligent at, I go through the content, I do well on like exams and quizzes, but when it comes to like writing assignments and doing stuff like that, it's because you've got to properly manage your own time, start early. It's sort of like I'm like, oh yeah, it's still got a few weeks. Yeah, I'll start then. You know how it is when you constantly put things off. But these last few weeks, because it's like my final few weeks at uni, and the fact that I had both of them due on the same day, I actually got my act together and have been consistently working towards them. And yeah, last night I pretty much finished off the second report. I've written everything now, a rough draft, and even gone through it a bit. So it's pretty much ready to send off. All I've got to do is just tidy up a few things. I'm a bit over the word count. I need to trim a few parts of it. Probably the introduction's a bit too long. And yeah, apart from that, fix up some of the referencing and yeah, send it off. So I'll get that done now in an hour or two this morning probably. And then well, then I'll only have one piece of assessment left, which is to do with the work placement that I'm doing with the Rangers. Tomorrow I work with them, and then I've done 14 out of the 15 days. So yeah, I'm going to do one day this week, and then next week I'll do my last day with them as part of the placement. Yeah, one of the guys there said he wants to do like a bit of a get together, a barbecue on my last day, so that would be nice. But yeah, that'll hopefully not be the last I see of them. I will stay on with them, start with as casual. So yeah, occasionally if there's any projects going on, they'll call me, might give me a call, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to continue working with them from time to time. In the meantime, I'll also stay on at my old job. But yeah, this looks like a really promising way to, just a really promising stepping stone. Yeah, it's a stepping stone to get to where I want to be. So I'm doing really well at the moment. I just have to continue to trust the process, have faith, and not self-sabotage. That's what's always gotten me in the past, self-sabotage. Now, as I've mentioned as well in previous videos, I have been slowly reading through my old journals. Since 2020, I've kept one journal every year, 6 journals in total. I've gone through 2 of them now. Last night I finished going through the second one, which was primarily it was in 2021. Yeah, my first journal, when I first started keeping a journal, it was just before COVID hit, 2020, and yeah, my second journal was for 2021. I just finished going through that, so I've gone through 2 years, those 2 years now. And it's very interesting. I'm glad I kept a journal then, even though right now I'm actually not keeping a journal. Well, I mean, these videos are kind of like that. I've had many channels like this over the years, and I really do regret having deleted most of them. Some of those videos, like I do have some videos that from my old channel saved in archive, but I really do wish that I would have access to some of those old videos, because it would just be interesting to see how I was speaking and what I was saying. It's just how I was back then. So that's why I want to keep this channel now as a long-term archive, especially going into the next stage of my life. But I am glad I at least kept those journals, because I can really look back and see the growth and transformation over time. And it's interesting, for a long time it really felt like I was just stuck in one place, just completely, utterly stuck. Like I was listening back to, in the past I've listened back to my old videos, and I would read, and just recently reading back to my old journals, and I've done that occasionally, not to the extent I'm doing now. I'm literally going through day by day, entry by entry, and I can see a lot of it is, of course, just repetitive nonsense, just saying, oh yeah, tough day at work, I did this, did that, like just boring stuff. Most of it's boring stuff. But yeah, every now and then I come across an interesting entry where suddenly I really have some insights, or it's during a big event, big time of life. I mean, 2020, 2021 was definitely a very hectic and chaotic period. Not just for myself, it was a chaotic time everywhere really in the world, with all this stuff with COVID going on. Oh man, it was insane. Even reading back. But even after COVID, right, I'll see as I go into some of my next entries. But for a while, I was just stuck in this quite a narrow mindset, quite a narrow view of the world. And it's interesting, like reading back through those entries, like my view of the world was much more narrow than it is now. Some of you might just be saying, well, you're younger then. It's just, you become more open-minded and you gain a bit of wisdom as you age. Now, yeah, that might be true. However, I can push back on that a little bit, because I would say age does not necessarily always mean that you're going to get wiser and have a more open view of the world. That doesn't necessarily happen. Like, I've seen plenty of old people that they have this extremely narrow view of the world. And yeah, some people, when they get older, they become even more rigid, narrow-minded, set in their ways. Age doesn't necessarily always correlate with wisdom. There's plenty of stubborn old farts out there. All right, look, I mean, I don't mean to talk about my elders in a disrespectful manner, but it's just the truth. Look, I'm Gen Z, right? Gen Z, we've got a lot of big problems. We've got a lot of problems. Speaking of, in some ways, I am ashamed of my generation. Yes, I am. It's seeing what's going on. But look, I don't want to play into this generational infighting and play the blame game, or it's all the boomers or it's all the millennials, all this. No, I don't want to do that. There's good and bad in every generation. Every generation has faced certain shortcomings or certain challenges that other previous generations may not have, at least not in that way. And yeah, definitely now Gen Z and subsequent generations are facing certain challenges that previous generations have not had to face. Like, speaking of young men, for instance, having unlimited access to internet porn is one of them. Although with that now, it's really interesting to see the long-term effects of, say, what's going on here in Australia, where large quantity of adult content is now blocked. Most of these sites. Of course, it's not foolproof, but yeah, I think now we're at the point we're at now, the tide against the adult entertainment industry is really starting to turn. It is starting to become more and more mainstream to talk about the problems of porn addiction, and yeah, it's the tide is shifting, definitely. But getting back to my point of being I used to be so much more narrow-minded. And what do I mean by that? Like, I've always been a curious person. I've always been eager to learn. So I've never been this stubborn person that is completely fixed in his ways. Like, I've always had that curiosity, that growth mindset. But still, looking back at how I was then, my understanding and my view of the world was so much more narrow than it is now. And the question I'm asking is, what helped me to overcome that? What helped me to overcome those self-limiting beliefs and just gain a much more holistic view of the world? And I would say a big component of that, not the only component, but a big component of that has been travel. Yes, travel. Now, I am by no means the most well-traveled person, although I have traveled more than many people my age. A big part of that, a big reason for that is my background, right? I'm from a mixed background. I'm half Austrian, half Sri Lankan, born and raised in Australia. So growing up, that made me a third culture kid, meaning that both my parents come from different countries, and then I was born and raised in an external third country that neither of my parents had any previous connection to. That's a third culture kid. That's the right term for that. So yeah, I have my family on both my mom and dad's side overall. Like, it's my extended family is we're everywhere basically. It's an international family. We're pretty much scattered everywhere. I've got of course my dad's side, a lot of family still in Sri Lanka, but especially on my dad's side, I've got many of my extended family there have moved pretty much everywhere. I've got quite a bit of extended family in New Zealand. Speaking of New Zealand, I'm going to be traveling there in 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, I'm traveling to New Zealand. Stay there. Going to be there for about 2 weeks. So a lot of my dad's side of the family lives in New Zealand. So I'm going to be catching up with the same crew that I traveled around Sri Lanka with. My cousin that I traveled around with, and two mates from New Zealand. Yeah, going to be meeting up with them. And yeah, my cousin, he was born and raised in Sri Lanka, but yeah, since at a younger age, they relocated to New Zealand. So yeah, he's pretty much full Kiwi now. So yeah, it'll be good catching up with them. And yeah, I've also got, on my dad's side, I've also got family in UK, London. No, I know of one uncle in Canada, and one family in US, New York. Actually, I've got family in the States. Yes, I do. But I've never been to the Americas. What else? I know of some family in Italy, and then of course on my mum's side, I've got most of my mum's side of the family lives still in Austria, and also some Switzerland, and then there's also Scandinavian connection. So yeah, my family's pretty much everywhere, and of course I've gone on family trips to those regions, so that already did expose me to more and more places, more and more cultures. But when it comes to travel, of course, there's a big difference between traveling with your family when you're growing up and just taking family trips. Big difference between that and traveling as an adult, especially on your own, especially solo travel. And now we're finally getting into the nuts and bolts of this video, where I want to ask, is travel the missing key? Is travel the missing key? And when I say travel, I am especially talking about solo travel. Solo travel, of course, traveling with others as well, traveling with friends, family, but especially solo travel, because what really broadened my horizons, when I really started to change, when I really started to see the world in a different manner, it's when I started to solo travel, to travel on my own. And my first ever time solo traveling was taking road trips across the Australian countryside. Yeah, that's my first time. My first ever time doing a trip on my own was after moving out here. I took my first ever trip down to the northern tablelands of New South Wales, which is south of here, just a few hours south of here. I remember I went car camping for the first time ever in Armadale, and yeah, just travel around the northern tablelands a bit. It was only an overnight trip, but that was my first ever time just traveling and staying somewhere on my own. And yeah, that was quite an experience. But what really kicked it off, this was back in 2024, like the summer of 2024. And then what happened? Later on that year, I took my first ever solo road trip, where I took like a week and I went down to the Snowy Mountains. Yeah, that was in August of 2024. Yeah, wow, that's almost 2 years ago now. That's crazy. That's crazy. I remember that trip really well. That was one of the best times I've ever had, that trip. But yeah, all I had was my car, a few supplies, mattress in the back, and I took a week, and I had a goal, right? I wanted to get down to the Snowy Mountains. It was my first time seeing snow in Australia, and yeah, that was my goal. I had a goal where I wanted to go, but in terms of how to get there, it was pretty much all unplanned. And when you travel that way, when you travel somewhere and you have like an open itinerary, it's unplanned, especially when you're on your own. You are entirely responsible for your own well-being and your own enjoyment. You're not relying on anyone else to come up with the itinerary, and yeah, you can pretty much do whatever you want and go travel on your own schedule. Like I thoroughly, for example, the Sri Lanka trip, don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed the Sri Lanka trip, but it was crazy. It was really crazy. I enjoyed it, but it was a crazy trip. A lot of it, of course, was catching up with family, my dad's side of the family. I hadn't been back there in a long time, but I didn't really do any solo travel in Sri Lanka. When I did travel around it, I was with my cousin and yeah, the mates from New Zealand. So yeah, it was 4 of us traveling around. If you watched any vlogs on the main channel, you'll see that, and there's still more to come. I thoroughly enjoyed that, but traveling that way did definitely allow me to see that solo travel is in a league of its own, no doubt. It's very different. It's very different to traveling with others, because you're forced naturally to pay a lot more attention. I would say the key for me was starting to travel on my own, doing solo travel. So yeah, I did that trip down to the snow. That was really awesome. And then about a year later, which was last year, August last year, 2025, then I took my first ever trip to the outback. Well, the start of the outback. I went to outback Queensland, far west New South Wales, did a loop that way, and again, a trip that I thoroughly enjoyed. Now I'm going to be traveling to New Zealand next month, just for 2 weeks. I'm by no means going to be able to see all of the country. I'm going to catch up with friends and family over there, primarily Auckland, North Island, for like a week, and yeah, then we're heading down to South Island, doing a road trip there, and ending in the Southern Alps. Yes, the Southern Alps of New Zealand. So I'll get to see some snow there as well, no doubt, no doubt. Ending in the Southern Alps and flying out from there. I'm not going to spoil exactly what's going on, but yeah, there's going to be road tripping. There's going to be some winter activities and potentially some skiing. Haven't made up my mind yet exactly what's going to go on, how we're going to do that. Just the itineraries still open, of course. I do prefer having a more open itinerary, but that's where solo travel really does come in, because when you are traveling with others, you can't exactly have it as open as if you're traveling on your own. You do sort of have to plan it a bit more if you're with others, which is okay. Like I still enjoy traveling with others, but man, there's just something about solo travel that it just hits different. It hits entirely different. And where did she drop the ball? Ah, here, it's in here. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so that's coming up, and yeah, it's interesting. 2024, when I did the trip to Armadale, just a short overnight one. When I went on the road trip on my own, down to the snowy mountains, and when I went on my trip last year out west, even though these are short periods of time, it definitely broadened my horizons, opened my mind, and it's definitely played a role in helping me overcome self-limiting beliefs, because it helped me gain a lot of confidence, of course, traveling on my own like that. It helped me overcome self-imposed limitations, and yeah, it just helped me to broaden my horizons and open my mind more. So I would say part of self-improvement, part of expanding your horizons, becoming more well-rounded, open-minded, and just not being stuck in that narrow mindset, because if you just live the same day after day, it can become very just monotonous. And it's just, that's why I said before, it doesn't necessarily come with age, because you have plenty of older people that they've just lived in the same area their whole lives, and might be very narrow-minded. And now I'm not saying that's not going to be the case. There's plenty of people, I'm sure, that they might not traveled much, but they become very wise when they get older. I'm not trying to knock that, but I'm just saying that travel is one of the best ways, I think, to become a more well-rounded person, really appreciate this world more. Because look, there's so much chaos and negativity out there, especially now, but when you do travel, you do appreciate a lot more. Like, I appreciate this world a lot more after having traveled it, and in particular I appreciate where I live, appreciate Australia a lot more. Like after my trip to Sri Lanka, I thoroughly enjoyed the trip to Sri Lanka, but after that trip I appreciated my life here a lot more. I definitely needed that. And especially after COVID, I was very bitter about certain things, of course, and I just really wanted to get out of Australia, man. I want to get out of here. I need to, I'm not going to go there in this video, but yeah, and traveling overseas definitely helped. It definitely helped, and now I appreciate this country a lot more after having spent just a short time overseas. And yeah, definitely going to be more places to travel. I have not taken an overseas solo trip overseas yet. That is going to be the next barrier to cross. And yeah, this trip to New Zealand, that's not going to be that. Again, I'm going to be traveling with others. But yeah, down the line, definitely I want to do some overseas solo travel in Australia as well. Like there's so many places in Australia that I still want to see. And yeah, I'm thinking, later on, probably sometime this winter, I want to do a similar thing that I've done the last 2 years. That might even turn into like a routine for me. Just even for those 2 trips, all I did is I swapped some of my work days around so that I could have like 6 days off in a row. So I'll do something similar. Now I'll take a road trip. I haven't exactly decided where I want to go yet. But yeah, I would like to do that later on. Sometime this winter. Do another road trip similar to that. Maybe take the van, although that needs a bit of work. But hey, once I am done with my uni stuff, I can work towards that. But yeah, I would say travel definitely is the missing key. Like that's when I started to travel and see new places like that, I can see my mindset really start to shift. And I'm not up to in my journals. I'm not up to that point yet, but I'm starting to really see the changes as I read through those journal entries. And yeah, I think travel really is the missing key that really helped me to get to where I am today. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be long term. There is so much more that I need to see, that I need to do. But compared to where I was before, I'm in an infinitely better situation. And in terms of, I'll end this video. I will talk a bit about travel goals. Where do I want to travel? Where do I want to travel? First of all, I'll start, where do I want to solo travel? Because that's going to be a big one, a big hurdle to overcome. I mean, the world is in a very chaotic place right now. We'll see what happens with the situation overseas, particularly conflicts and fuel shortages and all that stuff. We'll see, even with the road trip, how everything goes. For the time being, we seem to be in a bit of a calmer period, relatively speaking. It's not calm, but relatively speaking compared to what it has been for the last 2 months. But yeah, keep an eye on the situation. I have the feeling that there's definitely more turbulent times to come. I think we're in the eye of the storm, but again, I'm not I can't see the future. I can't predict the future, so we'll see. Keep an eye on it. But yeah, all right. Assuming that it's assuming how things go and it's possible, I definitely will have a few places I want to travel, to do solo travel. What destinations do I have in mind? One country I would really like to do solo travel, I think, and a place that I think would be a good first destination of solo travel, Japan. Yeah, Japan's been on my bucket list for a while. I really want to go to Japan. Yeah, I think that would be a great place to start. It would be. I mean, actually, overseas travel, solo travel, actually Singapore would be the first example of that. Yeah, I mean, I was in Singapore just for a day, right? I don't know if I really would count that fully as a full solo trip, although it could. If I count my road trips, I definitely could count that. I was there for more than 24 hours in Singapore, and yeah, I traveled around on my own. I mean, it's a city state, right? It's not exactly a massive area to explore, right? But still, I really enjoyed that, and I definitely would stop in Singapore again. I didn't see all of it, so yeah, okay. I technically I have traveled overseas on my own, Singapore, but that was over a layover. In terms of a dedicated trip, not yet. But Japan is definitely on the list, and yeah, it's good. Japan, there's cheap flights, relatively cheap flights from Australia. I mean, flights from Australia tend to be very expensive, but compared to other places, Japan is quite affordable, and not too far either. So yeah, I would definitely go to Japan. That would be a good choice, I think, for a solo trip. But now talking about travel in general, what are other countries that I would want to go that I haven't been to before? Well, in Europe, there's definitely some countries I want to go to. I want to visit Scandinavian countries. I've already been to Sweden before. Wouldn't mind going back there, but I would especially love to visit Norway. Yeah, Norway as well. I've been to Denmark and Sweden, but I really would like to visit Norway. I'd like to visit Iceland. Iceland is definitely high up on the list for me. Yeah, Finland as well. I wouldn't mind that. I know Finland's not Scandinavian, but it's part of that greater region. It's Nordic countries. That's the correct term. Scandinavia is just Norway, Denmark, Sweden. Nordic countries then also includes Finland and Iceland. But yeah, all those countries I'd like to go to. Poland. I'd like to visit Poland. I've seen a bit of Western Europe already. Of course, been to Austria. I've been to Hungary, I've been to Switzerland, Germany, been there, Denmark, Czech Republic. Haven't been to France, haven't been to the UK. I'm not really as interested in those places. Not really. I'm not so interested in France or the UK. Oh, the UK, certain parts of it. I wouldn't mind seeing parts of Scotland maybe. I'm not so much into big cities. I'm not, especially I've seen some videos of like London and Paris. I would not be that interested in London and Paris or some of these big cities, especially not how they are now. I would still go to them, but let's just say that's not on the top of my list. France, UK, especially the big cities like London and Paris, let's just say they're not exactly on the top of my list. Where else in Europe? I'm talking about the whole continent of Europe. I know this is going to be a controversial one, but Russia. Yeah, I actually really would like to travel to Russia. And I know some people would say, oh, Russia's not Europe. Russia is Europe, mate. There's a big part of the European continent is Russia. Politics aside, right? Politics aside, I would say Russia is Europe. Russia is part Europe, part Asia, but overall, I would say it's still part of Europe. Yeah, I would like to travel to Russia. I know with the whole situation, the war and politics, it's yeah, as a Westerner, not exactly advised to go there, but I'm just like, if and when the situation dies down, definitely Russia is on the list. I would love to go to Russia. It's the largest country on earth. I think it's another misunderstood country. Like, so much to see, very diverse, of course, so many different places, so many different ethnic groups. So Russia is definitely on the list. Additionally, where else would I like to go? Other regions. Let's move over to Asia. India, definitely want to go to India. So many places to see in India. Add to that Nepal. I love hiking. Nepal is a great place for hiking. China. Yes, actually China. That might be a surprise to some of you, but I really would like to go to China. In fact, about a year ago now, yeah, my cousin and the mates from New Zealand, it was 4 of us traveling to Sri Lanka. Well, those 3, they actually went to China about a year ago now. They went on a trip to China and they thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, China would be on the list. We're also in Asia. There's a few other. It's big. It's big. I wouldn't mind seeing parts of Central Asia, some of the Stans. This is going to be another even more controversial one, but Iran. Yes, I would actually like to go to Iran. I know several Persians, Iranians, and they're some of the nicest people that I've met. And government and politics aside, I've seen travel vlogs of people going to Iran. Of course, I wouldn't travel to it now in this situation, but Iran. It's like it has ancient roots, of course, very old civilization. And yeah, look, I wouldn't travel to it now, but hey, in the future, things change. Iran would definitely be a place that I'd like to travel. And yeah, even some of my Iranian friends, like most of them, they do not like the regime at all. They hate the regime. They hate the government. But they still have recommended to me, hey, if you want to go to Iran, definitely go to Iran. You'll love it. Like, that's another key thing that we have to do. We have to learn to distinguish between governments and people. And that's also, travel will definitely will help you in doing that. It will help you see that, most different places around the world, your average person just wants to get on with their life, get on with it and live their life. Like, yeah, politics aside, that's what most people want to do. Most people just want to get on with their lives. So yeah, Iran will be on the list. I wouldn't mind seeing other parts of the Middle East. Egypt, I'd like to see Egypt, just really for the pyramids and some of these ancient sites. Of course, I understand it's very touristy and stuff now, but it's a bucket list. I've got to go. Africa, all right, we're moving on to Africa. South Africa. Oh man, South Africa, I don't know. I want to go and I don't want to go. I want to go because South Africa has some spectacular nature, but I also don't want to go because it's very crime ridden. It's not exactly an easy place to travel. Very high crime rate, not very safe. I could say that about other places as well, but yeah, it's a tricky one. Definitely not for beginners, I would say. Other places in Africa, yeah, Morocco. I wouldn't mind going to Morocco. Ethiopia, definitely I want to go to Ethiopia. And yeah, that's pretty much. There's other places in Africa as well, and even Europe. There's so many places to see, but yeah. All right, Africa, Europe, Asia, done. Let's do closer to home, Oceania, Australia. Well, of course, there's more to travel in Australia. I am Australian and I live here, but so much more to see in Australia. Yeah, New Zealand, I'm going there very soon. I've already been to New Zealand before. Wouldn't mind seeing some of the Pacific Islands. And apart from that, really just left with the Americas, of course. Definitely want to visit. There's many parts of the US that I want to see. I love to go to America, see parts of the US, Canada, and apart from that, you've got here Latin America, really Central and South America. Honestly, not as much places in Latin America that I would be that interested in. It just, I don't know, nothing against the region, but I don't know anything much about it. But compared to other parts of the world, it doesn't interest me as much. In terms of where I would want to go, Latin America, probably parts of Chile and Argentina. Patagonia, yeah, Patagonia I would really love to see, especially for the nature. Parts of the Andes, yes. Machu Picchu, of course, parts of the Andes I'd like to see. The Amazon, yes, definitely. But apart from that, Latin America doesn't interest me as much. I'm sure there's many hidden gems there and places I'm missing out on. But yeah, US, Canada, parts of the Andes, Machu Picchu, of course, Incan civilization, Patagonia, so southern part of Chile, Argentina, and what else? Yeah, there's plenty of places I'm missing, of course, but parts of Mexico, I'm sure. Yeah, Mexico. I'd love to see some of the, there's a lot of history there. Yeah, Mexico. That's basically it. That's pretty much my travel goals. I don't know when or if I'm going to take any of these trips, but that's really it. The most controversial ones, probably China. I don't know. China's not really. I don't know if China would be considered controversial as such. It's not, definitely not the main destination that most Westerners would go to, but probably Russia and Iran. That would be the most controversial ones, given the political situation. But again, like I said, I think we have to learn to separate politics from people. And look, definitely do your due diligence, and yeah, do your research before traveling to some of these places. But yeah, I've seen some travel videos of people traveling to all these different countries, and that's basically what I'm informing it. Well, and also from people I know who live there. I know Iranians, I know Russians, and I would definitely consult them before I would choose to travel to, say, either Russia or Iran. But alas, these are countries I would love to travel to. So that's it. This is a long ass video. I'm starting to sweat walking around here. That's why I'm in the shade. I've gone way over schedule today. She's basically done. She's having a lie on the nice cool grass. But that's it, man. I've had so much. It's been so hectic with uni and stuff. I'm just excited, man. I'm almost done. Almost finished. Yes, almost done. Gonna go home, work on my last assignment. I've done the 2 courses that I had remaining with coursework, and then I just got to do the last report and reflection for the work placement, and that's it. This video's long enough. I'll see you all in the next one. Onwards and up.